join me for Ask the Good Doctor, live today and every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 12 noon Central Standard Time, and 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Bring your questions.
On my YouTube channel, on my YouTube channel. And please, if you could, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Yes. Ask the Good Doctor, LaJoyce Brookshire. Like, comment, and subscribe. Welcome to Ask the Good Doctor. I am your host, Dr. LaJoyce Brookshire, and I am here to help you attain, maintain, and reclaim your perfect health. And today, we are going to have a candid conversation about solid solutions to conquer COVID. Oh, yes, that menace to our society, as she is affectionately known in the Black community as Miss Rona. Well, Miss Rona has come through here and torn up stuff and wreaked all kinds of havoc, but we are going to say no more. We are no longer going to be unprepared, because when coronavirus arrived on the scene earlier this year, I'm telling you, it was not a pretty sight. And people were in a panic primarily because they were unprepared. Yes. Now, the government has been telling us for a long time with those posters that they have up called ready.gov. And I think that this whole situation brought to light that as a people, Americans, period, are not ready or prepared for any emergency. And that is what caused a lot of panic, a lot of fear, a lot of anxiety. But as we like to say on our team and in my house, stay ready so you don't have to get ready. If you have never gone to ready.gov, you really should check that out, because ready.gov gives a wonderful list about all of the things that we should do in case of an emergency. Do you have a go bag? Do you have a plan? Where would your family meet if you're scattered? Those kinds of things. And it doesn't hurt to understand what those things are. And even though the family wasn't necessarily scattered during COVID, but we were together while we were quarantined, there were things that we needed that we didn't have in our homes. And in the Bible, it talks about always having a storehouse so that there will be meat in our house. A lot of people use that scripture for tithing, and that's what it's definitely related to that. But I think it's absolutely positively applicable in this situation because, listen, you should always have your freezers stocked. You should always have your cabinets stocked. We don't know. The weather is wild in America these days. Anything could come a running through here and tear up some stuff. We could be without lights. As we know, Louisiana recently had a Category 9 hurricane. We just don't know. But I live in the mountain where we say, snow melts, but, the avalanche is real sometimes. So we are always prepared. And, I think that corner stores and living close to stores have spoiled us, that we could just run out and go get things. But what if you can't? And we learned that during quarantine. What if you can't? Are you going to be prepared the next time? Are you going to have toilet paper next time? Listen, I had somebody in my village in St. Louis who said that she could not find toilet paper for miles around. So what did I do, being a good neighbor, being a good villager? I put together a package for her with paper towels, napkins, toilet paper, and it cost me more money to ship that big old box than it did for what I had in it. But guess what? She had a need and has a family, so I sent it off to her. But instead of shipping paper cross country, we need to make sure that we have paper in our own homes. So while toilet paper is plentiful now, while alcohol can still be found, make sure that you grab some of it. The wake up is real, you all. Thousands of people have died from this virus. And about 200 years ago, what you should know, though, is that the common cold was once very deadly. The common cold is also a type of coronavirus. And every year it went away and came back. It was less and less every year. it came back. And what's going to happen with COVID is that we are going to be moving from pandemic to endemic, means that we must live amongst it and it will live amongst us. And one day, we don't know when that will be, it won't be as deadly. But currently it is. And are people recovering from the virus, though? Yeah, they absolutely are. But I want you to be in a posture that you don't even get the virus. Remember, I'm a woman who was married to a man who had full blown AIDS for 2 full years before I ever found out. And I did not get the virus because covered by the blood of Jesus, but also I have a rock solid immune system. And that's where I want you to come. I want you to eventually have a rock solid immune system. We need to start building our immune systems now. We need to always be in a posture of building our immune systems. And because all of that water drinking and eating my vegetables and going to bed and drinking water, all of that helped to contribute to my good lifestyle years before I ever met the young man. So I am here to tell you, and I'm fastidious about teaching this because of my own story. And I'm telling you, when your immune system is strong enough, it doesn't matter the virus. It doesn't matter if it's the bird flu, the swine flu, the avian flu, the regular flu, the coronavirus, or if it's HIV. When your immune system is solid. So my granny used to always say, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. So today, I'd like to share with you my top 13 ounce of prevention tips. So grab your good doctor notebook, and if you don't have one, create one. Today would be a great time for you to create that notebook, because I'm always going to give you handy tips, things that you may want to write down, things that you may want to call somebody on the phone and say, listen, I know that you always do this, and Dr. Brookshire said that you need to stop. I want you to do that. So here we go. First thing, I want you to stay hydrated. Yes, yes, yes. I am always going to be talking to you about water, water, water. Drink your water. Rinsing away toxicity is vitally important, because if we happen to ingest COVID, if we happen to ingest it, if it gets in our nostrils, we need to be able to rinse it away and swallow it. That's why one of the first two symptoms of COVID was sore throat and fever. Okay. And then 3, coughing was also an early symptom. The sore throat, the reason why is because it settles in the throat before it gets down into the rest of the symptoms, into the rest of the body. And so then the water helps to rinse it away. And going to the bathroom, okay, it's also good to pee it out. That can happen as well, especially if you have it in there. It won't set up residence. Okay, we don't want things to pretend like it belongs there when it doesn't. We don't want things living in the body when they don't belong there. Number 2, do not touch anything in public places with your bare hands. I always have a glove like this, and I use this glove as if it were my hand. I always keep a tissue handy, and I don't pick up anything with my bare hand, even when I have on a glove. I use this to open doorknobs. I use my foot to flush a toilet in public, okay? I use this to flush a toilet. If I can't use my foot, I use it to open a bathroom stall. Let me tell you something. Do not touch anything in a bathroom. Nasty, germy, and more germs. Do not touch anything in a bathroom. Always have a tissue in your hand. Always have a paper towel in your hand, a napkin, or something. And I recommend that you get these gloves while you can find them. I ordered a lot of these gloves in over the summer, and it took 3 months for them to get to me. But I was glad that I placed that order. Get yourself some gloves to keep your hands covered. You can also buy in the dollar store the plastic gloves that you wash the dishes with, and those you can wash, because just like if you wash the dishes, you can keep those washing. These are throwaways, okay? And every time I go into one store and come out, they come off, they go in the garbage, I sanitize and keep moving. So the other thing is, for sure, number 2, don't touch anything with your bare hand, even if you were going to wash and even if you were going to sanitize. And you know why? Because the hands may have a cut on it. Yeah. And the hands may have a cut. And this is the same reason why you really shouldn't wear sandals right now. Because as people spew droplets, especially the people who don't want to wear masks, if your foot has a cut on it, it's an open receptacle for you to be a receiver of something that could set up residence. I'm always going to be talking about setting up residence and how to avoid something setting up residence within you. Number 3 is frequent hand washing. Yes, we talk a lot about hand washing because it's important, but exactly how do you wash your hands? Of course, you need to sing the happy birthday twice. I personally like the Stevie Wonder version. And grab a paper towel to turn off the faucet. Remember, do not, do not touch that nasty faucet with your bare hands. And I don't even touch the soap dispenser with my bare hands. I use a napkin. I use a paper towel, always. And you know what? Keep paper towels and napkins and tissues in your purse or your pocket all the time. Number 4, sanitize frequently. Yes, yes, yes. Sanitize. And right now, we shouldn't be shaking anybody's hands anyway. Don't shake hands. Wakanda forever. Yes, that one got me, y'all. But Wakanda forever. So we could do this to greet our brothers and sisters. We can bump arms. We can pump fists. But I'm just gonna wave at you from across the room, blow your little air kisses. I want you also to make your own sanitizer. I want you to make your own sanitizer with alcohol, a little aloe vera, maybe some witch hazel, and some peroxide. And if you can't find any of those things, because I'm getting reports about not being able to find alcohol in places like Chicago. Like right now, I'm looking in stores and it came to my attention. And I was glad I started to look because guess what? There's no alcohol around. No alcohol. So, what can you use in place of alcohol? You can use peroxide. Peroxide kills germs. Yes, it does. As well as white vinegar, good old distilled white vinegar. So, before everybody else starts looking for the white vinegar, you stock up on white vinegar. The white vinegar kills germs like nobody's business. In fact, the white vinegar is a germ assassin. Number 5, cover your eyes. Yes, cover your eyes. Just like the eyes are the windows to the soul, the eyes are also an open orifice. Yes, because the eyes are just basically a water membrane. So, for droplets that are circulating in air that are being transported by ventilation systems, the last thing we want is for things to go into our eyes. And this is why pink eye is now on the list as one of the signs and symptoms of having COVID because it got into the eyes. Mhm. So protect your eye gates as well. Then, number 6, plug your ears. So I take one of these little pieces of tissue and I ball it up and I go out and I have tissue in my ear. I don't care what that looks like to anybody. I know why it's there. It is a filter because just like your eyes, your ears are also an open orifice. And just so you know, the ear is the entry point of infection to the body. I am always suggesting to people that we plug our ears even on a plane. And I don't mean just with a headset plug. No, that is not appropriate. You have to plug your ear. Now, what would be appropriate as a headset are the kinds that actually go over the head and cover the entire ear. But just a little headset plug, there's air pockets around it. So that will not suffice. Cover your ears. You want to take every precaution. I need a rap song. Take every precaution. Take every precaution. Yeah, yeah. Take every precaution because you don't need to be a statistic. And the other thing is clean your nose. That's right. When you wash your face, clean your nose. How many of you wash your face? How many of you clean your nose? How many of you clean your noses? I had a 97-year-old aunt. We rotate taking care of her. And when I was visiting with her, she said, my nose itches. And I said, well, let's clean your nose. So she took her washcloth. She likes white washcloths. She took her washcloth and she went in her nose. Literally, it was black. She went, oh my God. And I said, oh my God. She said, I never thought to clean in there. She had to clean in there about 4 times each nostril for it to come clean. Okay. it's important for you to clean your nose. So blow the dust off your neti pot. If you've never had a neti pot, now would be the good time to make an investment in one. And it is excellent to rinse the nasal passages of anything that you may have inhaled. And Dr. Sam is going to tell us more about how to protect our nasal passages as well. But before you wash your face or after you wash your face, clean your nose, blow, okay? Then clean your nose again. All right? That is awesome. And while you are in that shower, inhale that steam. I give myself a spa shower every day or a spa bath. I use eucalyptus oil, it's my favorite, or peppermint oil. And while the steam, the vapors, the inhalation of that, and though that is antiviral as well. So, speaking of bathing, number 8 is bathe every single day. Let me say something to you. Do not consider getting in your beds unless you have had a bath at night or have taken a shower. Don't even dream of you've been here, there, and everywhere. Don't you dare climb into your bed with all of that on your skin, in your hair, on your hands, on your arms. That's disgusting. You're dragging all those germs to your bed. And if you have a partner there, what if they didn't leave the house that day? Now you're passing on germs. I know a lot of people say, but I like to bathe in the morning. Okay, in the morning, take a rinse off, but scrub off the germs of the day as soon as you come in the house. That is the best thing to do, but certainly before you climb into your bed. Okay? And it's important for you to use a clean towel every single day because you don't know what's on it. You don't know what residue you may have left on it. But we get 3 million new skin cells each and every day. And where do you think those skin cells go? They go down the drain. They are inside of our clothes. We leave a little shedding everywhere we go. And it's in the towel. Yes. So use a clean towel every day, please, for me. I know that's a new concept, and some people, your wives or your mamas, may scream at you for using a clean towel every day, but really it's most sanitary. And that's where we need to be right now. Number 9, your clothes. What to do with your dirty clothes that you take off? Well, they should be in a hamper that has a top on it or in a laundry bag with a drawstring to keep the bag closed. It can even be a plastic garbage bag, but the clothes should not just be left all in the open because the COVID virus lives on surfaces for about 72 hours. So just think, if you had come in contact with COVID during the day, unbeknownst to you, and it got onto your clothing, now you bring your clothes home and you throw what you had on for the day, let's say on the couch or over the chair, or you just leave them open in the bathroom. What? Now it's circulating. So take every precaution. Take every precaution. Put those clothes in a hamper with a lid on it. Number 10, eat the rainbow. Eat the rainbow. Somewhere over the rainbow should be on your plate. We've talked about a healthy plate. Some people have talked about it. We may have heard some conversation about this, and we may have heard some conversation about the food pyramid changing its stripes. Well, we know by now that a healthy plate is a colorful one. So just like we have the little animated woman walking to the bathroom, singing her little song and washing her hands, why don't we have the animated woman walking to the kitchen, getting the whole family involved in cooking and chopping and dicing things to make a lovely, colorful plate? Changed behavior will come about then, and a strengthened immune system. So we also need to avoid alcohol, soda, pop, colas, and drinking coffee. Anything with caffeine, anything with sugar, because this virus loves sugar. So stay away from the sweets, and it drags down your body's defense mechanisms when you eat all of those sweets. So kick those habits of those sugary drinks. Your children can't go onto the store and buy them for themselves unless you bring them home. So please stop that. And children, if you're watching, please ask your mama to stop feeding you those things, because our immune systems get weaker and weaker when we do. 11, strengthen your immune system. Ah, ha, ha, ha. Strengthen your immune system. How do we do that? Now is the time to do everything right. Absolutely everything. Increase your vitamins times 3. Yeah. Go to bed by 10 o'clock or before. And the worst thing that could possibly happen to you, or to us, period, in America, is daylight savings time. Ugh, it's an awful thing for that to have happened to us. Changing the times and all of that, the body gets confused. But if you would just go to bed at 10 o'clock, the body has an opportunity to heal, because there's a circadian clock that happens at night. Yes. And every hour of the night is a healing cycle for the body. So, but you must be in a REM state sleep by midnight in order to snatch that healing. So if you don't get the healing at night, what happens if you stay up too many nights in a row, then it manifests itself in the body like high blood pressure, for instance, or thyroid disorders sometimes, or even diabetes, because the body can only heal when we're sleeping. Number 12, pay attention to your body. Please pay attention. If you don't feel well, please, by all means, don't just go to bed early and do nothing. Say, I don't feel well, and get in the bed. Before you get in that bed, do something proactive. Okay? Drink a hot cup of tea. Eat some chicken noodle soup. Take some vitamin C. Yes, I said it. Take vitamin C. While people are being censored on the internet for saying vitamin C, but we've got somebody in the highest office of the land recommending that you swallow bleach and Lysol. Huh? Please. So take your vitamin C, take your cod liver oil, take your multivitamin, drink your water, squeeze some fresh orange juice, fresh lemon juice, fresh grapefruit, yummy, and drink it all down. Now go to bed. Don't just go to bed and not do anything when you know you don't feel well. All right? Fight it. You have a fighting chance. Only you know how bad you feel, or how bad you don't feel. So if you don't feel 100% when you go to sleep, do something about it. Because if you go to sleep and don't feel well, guess what? You wake up feeling worse, because you've allowed the icky thing to take up residence inside of that body. We're not going to do that. Number 13, when you go out, cover your hair. Ah, yes, I've got do-rag after do-rag after do-rag in every color. Cover your head. I do it just like this, literally. I cover my hair because coronavirus, COVID, is lipid. And Dr. Sam is going to talk to us about that. It attaches itself, it's oily. So it attaches to our hair. Not if you have it covered. And then when you come home, you wash this do-rag. Hang it up, it'll dry by morning. Okay? They're 3 for $1 at the dollar store. Buy them in every color to match your lovely outfits. But don't let your hair be exposed. Men, wear a hat. Women, wear a hat. I say wear a do-rag because it's easily washable. Okay. Number 14, close the toilet seat before flushing it. What a concept. Close the toilet seat before flushing it. Why do you think the toilet seat has a lid? It's to contain what's in the toilet, so that if you don't close it, everything that's inside swirls around and splashes 50 feet around the bathroom. Yuck. So if you no longer cover your toothbrushes in the bathroom, please do. And I hate those toilets in public places that before you can even walk away from them, they flush. I hate that. So I carry, look on my desk real quick, I carry a bottle of peroxide, because I drop peroxide in the toilet before I even use it in public, because that kills germs. And we'll talk to Dr. Sam about that as well. Number 15, take your shoes off at the door. Yup. Take those shoes off at the door, please. please do not drag around what was happening outside across your threshold all over your home. And my God, if you have carpet, it just gives me the shakes. Take your shoes off at the door. And when you take those shoes off, take a paper towel, invest in those paper towels. Ooh, paper towels are also hard to find right now. Spray down the paper towel with vinegar, wipe the bottom of your shoe, leave them right side up. Turn them upside down so your soles are facing out. Spray them with vinegar, just let it air dry. The disinfectant on the bottom of the shoes, it just kills everything. Okay? But please take your shoes off at the door. And you're going to find that you need to clean your homes more often, clean your countertops. And finally, number 16, calm the fear factor. Let me tell you, being afraid and worrying all the time will sink an immune system faster than any coronavirus. Monitor who you are around, monitor where you get your information, monitor how you get your information. If you buy into conspiracy theories like Black folks are immune to it, ask someone whose family member has died from this virus. It is not a joke out here. This thing is very real. It is coming for each and every person, especially those with weakened immunities and especially those with underlying conditions. And when they first said that this virus was attacking older people who had been traveling, and they were saying that but one thing that they said that stood out, so you have to listen. Joe Madison likes to say with a third ear. I was listening to what they didn't say. What they did say was that it was attacking people who had underlying conditions. Oh my gosh. As soon as they said that, I went bing, 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 bing. Our community is in trouble. But that's not the kind of thing you want to get on the airwaves and say right away. But I smelled it a brewing because we're only 13% of the population, yet our pre-existing repeat, we are only 13% of the population, yet those of us with pre-existing conditions far outweigh others. It's often said that when the white community sneezes, the Black community gets pneumonia. And that is absolutely a fact. So don't go away. When we come back, Dr. Sam Shepard will join us with some riveting information. I'm Dr. LaJoyce Brookshire. I'll be back after this. Welcome back to Ask the Good Doctor. I'm Dr. LaJoyce Brookshire, and we have been having a conversation about solid solutions to conquer COVID. Ah, yes, Miss Rona has seen the last of wreaking havoc through our communities, and we today have the most awesome guest with us. His name is Dr. Sam Shepard, and he is a renowned scientist. He is a winner of many awards, lots of patents. He is the president and CEO of the ValAsta company, and he is on 2 DARPA teams. And if you don't know what that is, look it up. I am pleased to have him with us. Thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Sam. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful, Dr. LaJoyce. It's such a pleasure to be on and being able to talk about these things.
Yes, yes.
Try to sort out fact versus fiction as best we can.
Why don't we start right there? Can you please sort out the fact from the fiction about this virus?
I can. From the 35,000 foot level, the SARS-2 virus, which is the coronavirus, is it truly is a virus. It's not a bacteria.
Mm-hmm.
Its morphology or its shape, it's very, very small. It's 0.125 microns down to about 0.07 microns.
Mm.
So it's incredibly small.
Mm.
Just to put it in perspective, a staphylococcal bacteria
Mm-hmm.
is somewhere around 2 to 3 microns. So a bacteria is about 20 times or greater larger than a virus.
Wow.
So that's why we get into all these discussions about, do masks work? Do they not work?
Yeah.
Masks are great for filtering out things that are greater than 3 microns. Water droplets, mucus droplets are typically larger than 3 microns. Let me give you an example, a sneeze.
Please.
The water droplets that come out from a sneeze are typically, they range from aerosols, which are very small, down less than 1 micron, up to maybe 50 microns in size. But in a sneeze droplet of, let's say, 1 micron, there's over 200 million viruses.
Oh my goodness.
It is a droplet that contains a huge amount of viruses. Viruses actually, it will attack bacteria. Viruses are not living. So we can't kill a virus in the concept of how we would kill a bacteria or disinfect a bacteria. So we have to understand what a virus is to know how to protect ourselves from it.
Yes.
You got to know the enemy. And we spend a lot of time trying to figure out, what is this enemy? And so we have to deal with it really under or through a biochemical protocol, because it acts more like a molecule than it does a living thing. So it really is, in this case, the SARS-2 virus is an RNA contained within a phospholipid membrane. And most of you have seen it. It gets its name corona because it looks like it has a crown. It's got these little appendages that stick off of the cell membrane. Those are receptors, protein receptors. And that's how that virus communicates with the cell. So when there's a number of ways of ingesting the SARS-2 virus. We typically would do that through breathing in the droplets. Oftentimes the droplets will accumulate in the nose area. So the first inflammation hit will happen in the nasal passages. The nerves get affected there. And you hear people losing their sense of smell, losing their sense of taste. That's typically where it would hit first. If it gets into the bronchial tubes and down into the lungs, then we get inflammation in the lungs.
There we go.
And now it starts. And it's usually, it's not the virus that kills you. It's the inflammatory response from that attack. And this virus has the ability to turn off 2 braking systems in our immune system, which we don't fully understand why it does that. There's interleukin 6 and interleukin 11 and necrotic factor, what's called kappa beta, NF kappa beta. And in some cases, this virus has the ability, it's like a Porsche going down the interstate at 300 miles an hour.
Wow.
Headed for a brick wall.
Oh.
And
are humans the brick wall?
We have no brakes to stop it. Our brakes are shut off. So the response is in the lungs. The way that the immune system will work is it will first try to dilute the problem away. The solution to pollution is dilution.
That's right.
So what happens with this huge inflammatory response happens in the lungs, and our bodies begin, the immune system will pump fluid in, and we slowly fill up with fluid. The oxygen level drops, and we die from what's called ARDS, acute respiratory distress syndrome. Now, one of the things that they've tried to do is put people in ventilators and force more oxygen into the lungs.
Which is why that's been a failed experiment.
Yes. And I'm an engineer. I'm a chemical engineer as my undergraduate. And one of the things that you must be very, very careful about, even in engineering, is never put a compressible fluid on top of an incompressible fluid.
That's it.
So you have a gas. sitting on top of a little air sac that's filled with fluid. The moment you pulse that compressed gas on top of that, the hydrostatic pressure in the air sac can go to 1,000 psi very, very quickly. It's simple hydraulics.
Wow.
So when you hear of people having strokes, being on ventilators, it's not from the COVID, and it's not from the inflammatory response. What it is the air sac bursts, air blows in, and it's an embolism that gets into the bloodstream and causes a stroke.
So let's talk about how initially that there were only a few symptoms to look out for to prove that you were infected. At first, we had sore throat, fever, and cough. Now we have, Doc, about 16, 18, including blood clots and pink eye. Why now? The list seems to keep growing every month. They're adding more things to the list, to the list, to the list. Can you speak to that?
I can. When you have an infection from this virus, it's not a very far leap for it to very quickly become a bacterial as a secondary issue. So this is going to drop your immune system like a rock. Your immune system it's called a cytokine storm. It goes into a very quick and then a very depressed state. It's the same as having a comorbid disease. And that's the problem. For example, people who have diabetes or some sort of inflammatory, find themselves in an oxidative stress condition of some sort. Then you jump on it with this virus.
Wow.
And they die.
Yes.
The CDC just admitted there's only 9,210 directly related COVID deaths in all of the United States. It's not the 180,000 that we've been told. These people would have died probably from their comorbid, either heart disease. It's their immune system is so compromised.
Yeah.
So now you hear of people getting the SARS-2 and they don't get sick. Their immune system kicks in. It's the only thing their immune system has to attack in their body, and they survive it. Children have a great immune system.
Yes.
So children don't really get it. As soon as they get a inflammatory response from the virus, their immune system kicks into high gear and takes out the virus.
The invader, yeah.
But the people with the comorbid diseases, their immune systems are shot.
They don't have a chance.
Nope.
Is America foolish to put all of their eggs in the vaccine basket? And how can a vaccine be engineered and manufactured so quickly?
I'm not a big proponent of very quick vaccine
I think they call that fast tracking, right?
Fast tracking. Because you don't have enough time to truly understand what the side effects are going to be from this. I understand the urgency as to why they want to fast track a vaccine. And there's a couple things that are really concerning to me. The first one being the mutagenicity, the ability of this virus to mutate. We've seen rates that it mutates every 16 days. So if you go after a targeted vaccine for a specific strain, by the time the vaccine's developed, that strain is no longer even in the population.
Okay, so just like the flu shot.
Just like the flu shot.
Last year's flu strain to try to combat this year's flu.
It's a great moneymaker for the pharmaceutical companies because every year they're going to sell you a new vaccine.
Yes.
But in the reality of science, it's not. It's not going to be all that effective. There's actually a model that I developed years ago that would indicate whether the risk versus the benefit of the vaccine would determine whether you should get the vaccine or you shouldn't.
Okay.
So if, and it's really only a couple data points off of the clinical studies that they have when they go through phase 3 trials with a vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
And you can take those 2 data points and you can plug them into the model, and it will give you a degree of confidence of whether you should make the decision, should I get a vaccine or should I not? This one here definitely has not reached that point. There's not enough data points from the phase 3 trials, and a lot of the vaccines are failing. And that's a little bit of a concern.
I just heard a report that the people who were in the trial, 100% of the people in the trial all got some sort of adverse side effect.
That's exactly right. And there's several companies out there that are trying to come up with a vaccine. We've looked at vaccines with the common cold for 50 years, totally unsuccessful. We can't vaccinate against the common cold virus. And
well, that's right. Well, before you came on, we'd had the talk about corona. The common cold is a coronavirus, and it was once very deadly 200 years ago.
Yeah, or 200,000 years ago. Yeah, but it does change. So with the common cold viruses, they appeared to have weakened. Now with the COVID, we don't have an indication of weakening, and that has me quite a bit concerned. That there's several years ago, in 1998, I had developed 8 protocols to determine whether a bio attack is natural occurring or was it man-made and intentional. Because you obviously don't want to nuke a country if it was the common flu that infected your population.
Right.
So the 8 protocols that I had developed, and I can name them off. It's deployability. It had to be deployable. So you have somebody come in to deploy it. You have to give him time to escape because chances are he got contaminated.
Wow.
So there's transmissibility. So it has to be able to be transmitted or over or after a specific period of time. So, and then you have mutagenicity. How quickly does it mutate into additional strains? Because the attacked country would definitely try to come up with a defense against it. So, so that was, that was it. So then you have deployability, you have transmissibility, you have mutagenicity, you have time temperature survival. So at the higher temperatures, what is the death rate? What's the rate constant at which the virus would die? Then you have surface or physical properties. How long does it survive on specific surfaces for touch? So those are the 3 physical, or the 5 physical parameters to determine whether a weapon is man-made or not.
Wow.
Then there's 3 genetic tests. The first one is the length of the RNA chain itself. So we could go in and look at it, think of it as a piece of spaghetti.
Yes.
Typically, RNA viruses have a certain length, plus or minus 20%. If all of a sudden we go in and we find that this virus has an RNA length of 2x, 2 times that, we know that that's typically not going to be statistically a natural occurring RNA. Then you have a codon, which is the 3 bases that are added on when it reproduces. So we look for, I don't want to get real technical here, but we look for AUG, which is a starting point for reading a DNA or an RNA to reproduce the virus. If AUG stands for adenosine, uracil, and guanine, and if that sequence is different to start the reproduction, that would indicate that somebody had manipulated this thing.
What are you saying, Dr. Sam?
In a nutshell, we have found all 8 of those protocols have been met with this virus. It's It appears to have been manipulated. I don't believe it's man-made, but it does appear to have some sort of laboratory manipulation in it.
Okay, now that you've blown our heads off, I want you to stay right there. You cannot go away. Don't you touch that dial. When we come back, what we can do if you get the coronavirus and to prevent it. I'm Dr. LaJoyce Brookshire. We'll be